Alright, Shannon Vlogs, 31 Days of Horror. Now we're on day 17 and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Frankenstein. Yeah. Alright, hey everyone, it is Shannon and I am continuing the 31 Days of Horror challenge and I decided to watch Frankenstein. I did. And I recently read the book Frankenstein and there is a film adaptation coming out in November, but I couldn't wait. I need to watch something now. I need to watch something now. So I decided to go with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And this is directed by Kenneth Branagh. It is from 1994. It stars Robert De Niro, and Kenneth Branagh, and Helena Bonham Carter, and Ian Holm, and Aidan Quinn. Aidan Quinn was not great in this one. And Tom Hulce. I love Aidan Quinn, but he just wasn't very good here. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. So I hadn't seen this one before. I do remember when it came out. I remember that it was not very well received. That's actually part of the reason why I chose it now. After reading Frankenstein, and I'll link my Frankenstein blog below, I realized that the book is very, very different than the film interpretations I had seen. And then I pieced together, hey, this version, people didn't seem to like it, so it's probably closer to the book, and guess what? It was! It was a really, really faithful adaptation of the book. The most faithful I've seen. The story in Penny Dreadful is pretty good too, but this was quite faithful. Like, really, from everything from how it was structured, to how the story was told, to what the characters do life. It was really, really close. So if you're not familiar with the story of Frankenstein, we have a doctor, Victor Frankenstein, who is very compelled and pushing to the edges of science. He wants to prolong life or even revive life, and he just ends up creating a monster, bringing back someone in pieces from the dead to become alive. And they often actually, what do they call him in this? I don't know what they call him. In the book, they often call him the Fiend. So we have Kenneth Branagh as Victor Frankenstein, and we have Robert De Niro as the monster Frankenstein. Helena Bonham Carter plays, what is her character? It's probably Elizabeth. That's horrible. It's not horrible. I think it's Elizabeth. Anyway, Ian Holm plays Kenneth Branagh's father, and Helena Bonham Carter's adoptive father, and Tom Hulce plays Kenneth Branagh's friend, Henry Cavill. I think that's it. Anyway, so this story is much different than the sort of earlier, just a monster creates terror, take down the monster kind of theme of Frankenstein. It really follows the story of this idea, being compelled by this idea and being just like, I'm going to break this barrier in science. I'm going to do it. I don't care what other people think about it. I'm going to do it. I mean, the obsession of that. And then when the creation of that happens, it's not what he expects. So it's very theatrical. It's very dramatic. It's Kenneth Branagh. He comes from the world of theater, and it has that element to it, and it's gothic and big and dramatic and all of that stuff. So it doesn't, it's very different than, like in a lot of ways it is a drama, or a gothic tale as opposed to a straight up horror movie. Because there's nothing, I didn't find it scary, really. So even though there is tension in the ideas and the horror of the ideas are there, it's more of a dramatic telling of this sort of question about life. And I felt the book was really like that. So it was nice to have that in, like, to go from one to the other. But then, to be honest, overall, like, did I enjoy it? It's kind of like, sorta, like, I liked a lot of things about it, but it was pretty slow and it was pretty dry, and this sort of like, historical period I'm not that interested in, and I'm sure it was true to, all of those things, but it's just like a time period that doesn't really speak to me so much. Although the art direction, oh my goodness gracious, it was gorgeous, and the clothes and their house and even the monster, like the jackets and just everything was gorgeous. I do always appreciate that in period film, but the sort of getting to see what life was like then it just doesn't speak to me as much as other things. So there were things that I liked. It was better than I expected, that's for sure. Kenneth Branagh is a great actor. I enjoyed him. Helena Bonham Carter is great actor. She's really wonderful. I thought Robert De Niro was okay. One of the challenges with this is that the Frankenstein is closer to the Frankenstein character in the book, but not totally the Frankenstein character in the book. So they made some choices there, and I feel like they could have pushed it further, and that might have been a better choice than where they ended up here. And because it's a hard character to connect with, and they went for that here. I just didn't feel like it was terribly successful, but it is a very complex character, so it is a big challenge, and it's probably the closest. No, Penny Dreadful is the closest. The guy in Penny Dreadful is great. Who plays the monster? He's just wow, really understand the character. De Niro, just like it was close, but I think it needed to push farther. But that would have been maybe not telling the story that they wanted to tell. I don't know. Yeah, so overall there were lots of things that I liked about it. It was gothic, the acting was great, the art direction was great. But I think they could have gone further and that would have made it more successful. So, but I'm really glad that I watched it. And even though I know it's not going to be everyone's bag, and because does feel like a horror movie, but it is more of a drama. So people that are interested in drama, it might be too gruesome for, and people who are interested in horror might find it too slow. So I'm sorry, it's weird because I actually probably like horror more than drama. It depends. That's a story for another day. But overall, I did enjoy it. I didn't really do any drawings for it. I did do a drawing, but it just sort of mostly, I think the drawing I drew for this, which I can't find, they had this great staircase that I loved. Like every time I was like, and I was really engaged in watching it because visually it was very beautiful and very, very, very big, very, very theatrical, and so that was great. So I rated it a 7.5 out of 10. I couldn't quite give it an 8. An 8 for me is enjoyable. For me, it was just a little slow to hit that enjoyment mark, but it was really wonderful to see the actors. It's a great cast, and so I enjoyed them. But just is a little slow, just a little. All right, I do have a few things for the spoiler zone. So if you haven't seen Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994 and you don't want to know any more, we'll see you at the next video. Otherwise, going to spoilers in 3, 2, 1. What are my spoilers? I'm trying to remember. Oh, the beginning was really, really weak. Oh my god. I can understand seeing this movie and seeing the beginning and being like, oh, because I love Aidan Quinn, but his accent was not that good and he just wasn't that great. And it's where you need to be to believe this world, to believe this moment, at sea and all this stuff. And then it's like, oh man, not so much. And then it sort of goes into the different storytelling style and all it feels like outside they're in imminent peril, and then they go inside into the boat, Kenneth Branagh and Aidan Quinn, and then it's just another just let's put on some tea, there's no threat of danger. So that didn't quite work, although it's pretty true to the book, but it didn't work in the film. So that was really heartbreaking. That was really heartbreaking because I can understand why someone wouldn't be able to believe in the story from there because of that. But I love the beginning with the boats and the all, it just looked really cool, but it was very theatrical, not as opposed to realistic. But it wasn't unrealistic. I just think now we have such a heightened realism. We expect it really to be a boat on the ocean, and that's not what it was. So I don't think so. And there was one other thing. Oh my god, this is for me one of the most hilarious things. And dang, something I forgot to say. It's kind of a spoiler, so I guess this is the best place for it anyway. But at one point it was hilarious because you have Ian Holm and Kenneth Branagh and Helena Bonham Carter. So from a genre fan's perspective, here we have Bilbo, on his deathbed marrying Gilderoy Lockhart to Bellatrix Lestrange, and it's just hilarious because it's this whole weird Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter mashup moment, and it's just this is really, really weird. And so So that was a great moment. That was a great moment. And it's weird because all of that happened after, because it's from '94, so it's way before they're in, the other movies. And so, and then, but one of the things that I would imagine it being hard for people to connect to with this film is that and this is true to the book, that Kenneth Branagh's character, Victor Frankenstein, and Helena Bonham Carter's character of, I believe it's Elizabeth, we're going with Elizabeth, that she's his adopted sister. So they're not blood relations, but they have, a relationship, and they do get married, and they do talk about, they've talk about being brother sister in a romantic way, and that can certainly turn people off, and I think it's fair play to say so. So it's kind of like, like, it's true to the book, and it could easily be true to the time of, and I guess technically I don't know if there's anything legally wrong with marrying your adopted but not blood relation. It's still weird, but and I'm sure it was more common then than it is now. So anyway, it's just one of those sort of things that can turn people off big time, especially when it's like this big swelling romantic moment. Yeah, I think that could be a big NO. So anyway, I overall, I'm glad that I saw it. It wasn't as bad as I expected. What wasn't as good as I hoped. We'll see what we get up to tomorrow. So, all right, thanks for watching.